Hey, let's install and adjust a Shimano Tourney rear derailleur. We're going to do this without breaking the chain. Now it's going to be easier to do this if you have a missing link, but I'm going to show you how without a chain breaker. Let's get at it. This is a Shimano RD-TZ31. Also known as a Shimano SIS derailleur. It's a budget-friendly option costing about $18 and perfect for this bike. This derailleur will work with both 6 and 7 speed, and the derailleur attaches to the rear axle, so it's called an axle mount. I've got links in the description if you need one of these. Step 1 is to twist the shifter into the highest gear. That's called gear number 7, or the smallest gear on the back tire. Be sure to spin the pedals to move the chain into that smallest gear. This will make it easier to remove the wheel and adjust the derailleur later. At the shifter, turn the barrel adjuster all the way in, then back it out about a half turn. Now, let's take a look at how the chain snakes through the rear derailleur. Take note of how the chain's routed through the small jockey wheels. Might be even smart to take a little picture. So the tools you're going to need: a 9 or 10 millimeter wrench, 15 millimeter wrench, maybe a screwdriver. You can probably get away with doing this with an adjustable wrench. Use a 9 or 10 millimeter wrench to loosen the cable retainer bolt and pull the cable off the derailleur. Now take off the rear wheel. I've got this in a repair stand, which makes it a little bit easier, but you can flip the bike over to do this. With the wheel off, use a wrench to remove the bolt holding the lower jockey wheel on the old derailleur. This allows you to spread the derailleur cage and remove the chain without breaking it. Once the chain is free, loosen the small lock bolt at the dropout and slide off the old derailleur. Okay, so now we got the derailleur off, and it's time to put on the new one. As a little note, I really want you to remember how that chain routed through the rear derailleur. I'm going to have a little diagram on the screen to give you an idea how that goes. I don't want you to get confused when we get to that step, okay? To install the new derailleur, align it with the dropout slot and secure it with the small locking bolt. Don't over tighten this bolt. The main axle nut is what provides most of the strength. Next, remove the lower jockey bolt like you did on the old derailleur. Carefully spread the cage and thread the chain through. Then reinstall the jockey wheel. Make sure the small bushing stays inside the jockey wheel and doesn't get lost. Here's that chain routing diagram I displayed earlier to help out. Next, screw the barrel adjuster on this derailleur all the way in. This helps with adjustments later. Reinstall the wheel. Make sure it's centered and tightened securely. Double check the chain is on the smallest gear before moving on to the next step. Now let's reverse the steps and reconnect our cable. You want to make sure you pull this tight and lock it down firmly. Alright, let's set the high and low limit screws. H, the high, or L, the low limit screws, control how far the derailleur can move. Start by adjusting the H screw to align the derailleur with the smallest gear. Once that's set, slowly shift to the largest gear, which is number 1. If the chain doesn't reach the largest gear, back out the L screw just slightly. If the chain overshoots the gear, tighten the L screw until the derailleur stops in the right position. Here's a little hack. With the chain in the highest gear, that's gear number 7, pull on the cable to stretch it out. Then release it to see how much slack there is. The cable should only have about 1/4 inch of slack. If it's really loose, go back to the cable retainer nut on the derailleur and pull all the slack out and retighten it. Alright, let's fine tune the shifter. Fine-tuning the shifting is done with the barrel adjusters on both the derailleur and the shifter. If the chain hesitates to shift into a lower gear, back out the barrel adjuster just a little bit. Small changes can make a big difference, so only turn it about a half turn until the chain shifts smoothly and quietly. Test by shifting and cycling through all the gears multiple times. When the chain runs quietly and shifts cleanly, you're all done. So there you have it. We have our new derailleur on this bike and it's shifting pretty smooth. I'd love it if you could subscribe. Also, if you're looking for the parts and tools I used on this little job, I'll have those in the description as well. As always, keep pedaling and I'll catch you later.